Hello everybody and welcome to this video tutorial on how to make your character jump in Unity. So let's get started. If you're new here, my name is Yusuf and I teach game dev on this little YouTube channel called, what's it called again? The Game Dev Show. So if you want to support me, just please like and subscribe. Thanks. That'll be all. How to make your character jump in a 2D platformer game. Just like this. Now don't worry if the jump is a bit too fast. You can really customize it to whatever way you want, and you can just search for any assets. I quickly just searched for assets, and and Google came up with these assets, but you can search for any assets or make your own assets if you want. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so to start off, I quickly just made a quick player controller so I can move left and right. You can, if you want to learn how to do this, you can check out my recent video on how to make a player controller script in Unity. Now the video will probably show in the top right corner, so just check that out and just watch that till the end. But in this lesson we're gonna learn how to make our player jump. So it's really easy actually. So let's just go to the script right here. Now please nobody attack me for the name of this project, working on a project I want to work on. I don't know why I named it that way, but still, like, just don't ask. Now let's just go here and let's select this script. This is a pretty basic script that just tells our player to move left and right. So what we want to do is, let's just go up here. Okay, so how do we want to approach this? So whenever we jump, so what we want to happen is whenever we click on the up arrow key or the W arrow key, we want our player to add force, and we want him to jump in the upwards direction. But we don't want him to jump 2 times or 3 times, we just want him to jump 1 time. And we want him to jump whenever he's on the ground. So if he's in the air, we don't want him to jump in the air, we just want him to jump in the ground. Let's just create a private bool variable, and let's call it is grounded to check to see if our player is grounded or not. Now let's create a public transform ground check. So this is just going to be a quick ground checker to check to see if there is a ground below the place we're standing on. So to check to see if there is a ground on the place that we're standing on, and it's not just air, or it's not just like blank or something else. Now we want to add a public layer mask, and let's call it what is ground. So guys, just tell me, like, what is ground in the comment section. So just make a public layer mask what is ground to just identify from what is ground and what is not ground. Now let's make a public float, and let's call it check radius. Now this will just put a radius around our feet, just to check to see if we're grounded or not. This is just a part of the these four variables are just a part of one single function. We want to check to see if our player is grounded or not. Okay, so now let's just save. Let's go to update and let's start coding in our functions. So really easy. Is grounded equals physics 2D dot overlap circle. Now let's put a ground check position, ground check dot position, position dot position. Let's put a comma. Let's put in now we'll put in 3 different variables. We'll first put in the position of where we want. So this will basically just create a circle that checks to see if inside this circle we are colliding with the ground. So inside this circle, what we want to put inside, what we want the input to be is, first of all, we want the position. So what is the position? We want the ground check position to check to see if we're standing on the ground. Check radius as the float amount. And we want, last of all, the layer mask. So the layer mask is what is ground, to differentiate between what is ground and what is not ground. Okay, so this is just going to be in the update function. Now let's create a if statement. So what we want to happen is whenever we want to click whenever we want to press on the up key, up arrow key, or the W key, we want to jump. We want force to be added and we want to jump. So basically that's how to talk about it in the English language, but in C sharp it's a bit different. So in C sharp we'll just say if input with a capital I dot get key down, and let's add in key code dot W. So whenever we press on W key, or instead of saying or in the English language we say or in C sharp. Or I don't know what they're called, they're like straight ancient language thingy. I don't know what this is called, okay? Or inputs dot get key down, dot get key down. Let's add in an open bracket and a close brackets, and let's put in key code dot up arrow. Okay, now and is grounded equals true. So whenever he is grounded and we press on the up arrow key or the W arrow key, we want something to happen. So what we want to happen now, first of all, just a quick note, let's add in one curly bracket, one open bracket here and another close bracket here. Now you may ask, why is that? Well, because like in math you start off by solving the part of the problem that has the open bracket and close brackets. So this is just gonna tell C sharp, this is just gonna tell Unity that we want this to happen. First of all, we want you to check to see if this is done, and then after you check to see if this is executed, and then we want to check to see if is grounded equals true. So that's just a quick handy tip you can use. What do we want to happen? We want, well, we want to jump, so jump. But you see, I wish it were this easy. Let's just create a public, sorry, not a public, a private void, and let's call it jump. Let's put in a semicolon here, and boom. Yeah, just don't be like me and put it in the update function, just put it right here. Private void jump. So what do we want to happen when we jump? This is just called a function. If you've ever seen it before, this is called a function. This is like a variable but way bigger. So we just put in a function here just to reuse like the same amount of code. So for example, we want to debug.log hello. So instead of writing debug.log hello every time, we can just type in the function name right here and it'll automatically execute. So that's what functions are. But we don't want to print hello, we actually want to add force upwards. So rb.velocity equals vector2 dot up times, now we haven't made this yet, but times jump force. Now we haven't made this variable yet. Let's just go up here and create a public float jump force. Alright, so right here rb.velocity equals vector2 to up. So in the up direction, this is the vector2, the x and y position, and the up direction, so vector2 x and y, up direction, we want to multiply by jump force. So we haven't added a amount to jump force yet. We'll add it in the Unity editor. So that's why I put it at. So that's why I set it as public. Let's save. And what'll happen is whenever input.getKeyDown keycode.w or up arrow is and we're grounded, we should jump. That's what should happen. Alright, so now right here in the Unity editor, we just set the we just typed in some programs, we just typed in some variables and stuff. It shows right here, I think. Yeah, it shows right here. And now let's just go to our player and let's add everything to it. So the scripts are added. Speed is 10. What is ground check? So basically, I'm just gonna delete this. Just pretend you didn't see anything. create an empty game object and just set it as like below our player, something like here. It doesn't have to be exact really, and maybe set a gizmo to it. Go right here, maybe set a gizmo to it. Call it something like, press F2 to rename. Call it something like really anything. Ground check. And let's go back to our player. Ground check right here. Okay, let's go back to our player. Let's go right here and let's select the ground check. Let's put it right here. What is ground? Now right here, what you would like to do, what you should do is right here, go to layer, go to add layer, and add a ground layer, but I've already added it. And go again, go right here and just add the ground layer from here, just to tell it that this is a ground layer. That's what a layer mask does. It's just like to tell Unity game engine, hey, stop, these are different separate game object. This is a different game object than this. So what is ground? It'll show you everything here, every layer here. Just set it as ground. Check radius, something like 0.25. This will differentiate from player to player, from game to game, but I like to set it as 0.25. Jump force, maybe set it as something like, I don't know, 150. And set the gravity scale to something like 51. Because why not? And I think you're set. You're all set. Let's just play and see what happens. I think it was a bit too much. Let's just go back, and I think 150 is a bit too much. Maybe something like, I don't know, something like 70 maybe. Just play around and see what fits your like needs. Okay, I guess this is okay. Maybe play around with the gravity a bit. I think something like 7, 8. And the jump force, set it as 12 maybe. No, that's a bit too weak. Maybe something
2,000 years later.
Alright, I think 16 is good. 25. Alright, now that's a good jump. Okay. Very cool. Alright, now you could, when you add a lot of platforms, what I advise you to do, and yeah, it's gone. So what you want to do is just never ever edit it with game object. If you're testing, yeah, sure, but remember to save your progress. So it was something, I think it was 7, 8, maybe it was 8. Yeah, and jump force is like, I think jump force was 30. Yeah, 23 is good. So what I advise you to do is maybe play around with the bounce with your character's physics. Maybe make these a different. Sorry about that. When I'm testing, I usually like to put the scene and the game in the same layers. But I think maybe put one right here. And put another one somewhere here. And put our player here. Now we put the ground check in the we made it a child of the player, just so it sticks to its parent. So whenever we move, it's always in the bottom. Now if we play, alright, now if we jump, very cool. Now if we don't jump, we're gone. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good like okay. This is a pretty good result. Maybe put them separate. Make them a bit separate. And also maybe make a make a physics material 2D, just so you don't stick, because I think if you can stick right here. Maybe make a physics material 2D, call it player physics, and maybe set the friction to something like 0 and set the bounciness to 3. And it's really like fun to play around and see what oops. Wait a minute. add it to the player. As we can see, it's added right here. Cool. Now if we play, he should like bounce, I think. It's really fun to like play. Oops. Yeah, yeah. That's what happens when you maybe set the bounciness to something like 0. Yeah, he's never coming down, is he? Nah, he's never coming down. Yeah, so that's what basically happens. So basically make it zero point 0.3 just to see like what could basically happen. Yeah, he's always just jumping. Yep. So yeah, just play around. I'm just gonna end this video right here. These are way too fun. I'm gonna go and play with them. Not joking. Like I'm literally gonna go and play around with the bounciness and script. Alright, so in the next lesson, I'm gonna teach you how to add sound effects to your game. Whenever you jump. So whenever you jump, move, crouch, anything really, you can add a specific sound effect to make it just a bit more juicy. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a thing or two. Alright, so just don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All that good stuff. And see you in the next video. Cheers.